Gene, y'all, but Danny does. Danny does. Cat ends up apologizing. Martin lets Vernon know about the girls, but he doesn't tell. But Lord have mercy. Martin lets Vernon know about the girls, but he doesn't tell Anita. Anita had woke up asking or whatever, but he want her to get through her treatment. She started treatment today. Jacob and Andre were just talking about their wives, and Nicole ends up showing up at the end of the episode to support Danny. And once again, I was saying, well, I ain't said it yet. I was saying the end of the episode is what got me. The end of the episode is what got me when Danny was laying in bed crying or whatever. I said, dog, Andre, you should have had your phone. But she was laying in bed crying or whatever. And Nicole showed up and got in bed with her and was just comforting her. I was like, but I did enjoy that moment though. But hey y'all, welcome back to another video. This is for Beyond the Gates, January the 9th, 2026. First things first, let me know y'all thoughts on this episode down below. What y'all think that y'all like the episode. Look, they trying to get us. They trying to make us cry. Trying to make us cry and get emotional and stuff. They almost got, I started tearing up. I was like, oh, Daddy been going through it. Well, really all of them. Really all of them, but mainly Danny. I said, dog, ever since we don't see her, she been going through it. But yeah, now everybody got to get tested. And I was wondering, I was like, I know they said that if Nicole had it and Martin and Kat, there's a possibility that they would have it. And the same with Danny and Naomi now. But couldn't they still get it? Or that's not how it worked? Because it's coming from Anita, right? Couldn't it skip one of the girls and go to the other girl, the other granddaughter? I don't know, y'all. But okay, on today's episode, we're going to start with Chelsea and Kat. They was talking about their purses and stuff like that. They was trying to get some people to wear it to the Golden Globes, I think. I think they ended up getting a call saying that they chose not to go with their bags. Then they started talking about Anita and their bags. Kat was apologizing and everything. I think Chelsea told her that they supposed to be getting the test results because she didn't even know. She didn't even know. What else? Let's see. Anita and Vernon was talking. Anita wanted Vernon to stay to help the girls if they got the test result. Lord have mercy. Hold up. In case they got the test results or whatever. But he said that he was going with her, and he actually did. They got to the hospital. Might as well get them out the way. They got to the hospital. They started her treatment and everything. Martin ends up updating Vernon and telling him that Nicole doesn't have it, but Danny does. When he got off the phone, Anita had worked. She had woke up, and she was like, did they get the test results? And he was like, no, he hadn't heard anything. And it looked like on Monday's episode, well, I don't know if that's Monday's episode or what, but she's supposed to be at Danny's place or whatever. So I was like, I'm assuming she gonna find out. I said, I want to know how she gonna feel about that. I want to know how she gonna feel about Vernon not telling her the truth. What else? Nicole and Martin was talking about getting the test results and stuff like that. Smitty was right there too. I think he was making Nicole a smoothie. They was talking about it, and then she ends up saying that her and Carlton are dating. And he was like, you think that's a good idea? Because, you know, with everything that's going on. I said, mind your business or whatever. I said, mind your business. And right in the middle of that conversation, Nicole got her test results. It was negative. She don't have the BRCA. I think they said it's called BRCA gene. She didn't have it. So she ends up calling Danny. Naomi checks for her. She looks over at her, and she knew. She sat down on the couch. She ends up letting her know that, you know, she has it. So Nicole ends up going. I think that was the point. Right there when Nicole, it's like Nicole was crying. She wasn't crying, but, you know, you could tell she was upset. And she said she was on the way. She told Martin to tell Vernon or whatever. But yeah, I think that's the part where they started to get me. Nicole's reaction. But yeah, Naomi was comforting Danny. Danny tried to call Andre, but his phone was at the house. I said, oh my goodness. But I do think that sister scene was needed. That sister that scene was needed or whatever. But yeah, what else? It was something else. What was it? Nicole and Martin talk about getting the test results. Jacob wants Naomi to get that. They always they always having disagreements and arguments and stuff like that. Every time we see them, they ain't never happened since the show first started. He was trying to convince her to do a therapy session, even if she got to do it alone because of everything that's going on. She basically said no, she wants to stick to the regular couples counseling and everything. They don't even know if anything bad is gonna happen if they had the cancer gene or what. But yeah, he was just trying to tell her. She was like, she don't want to talk about it. She got to go to her mama place and everything. And I said, oh, Jacob, he be trying. He really be trying. Kat was saying how she wants things to go back to the way they were. Naomi ends up coming in to tell them that Nicole doesn't have it, but Danny does. They all go in there and they were just hugging Danny and stuff, comforting her. She said she had to go get herself together because she don't want to, look like that or look a certain way in front of her mama. And when they showed her, she was laying in bed crying and stuff. And I said, oh. I said, poor Danny. I said, wait till Bill find out. That's what getting me. Did y'all see the promo for next week's episode? So the Bill know the girl been poisoning him or what? And did that scene happen before the Joey scene? Or did he put two and two together when he had a conversation with Joey? Because they showed her trying to get him some tea. And he's like, I don't want no more of your poison. And then he's talking to Joey saying this should be fun or something like that. So I'm like, okay, what's going on there? I said, what's going on now? You know or don't you know? Do you know or not? Because last time they had you staring at the doggone mug, but you kept drinking the drinks. Do you want to die? like, don't tell me you knew and you was still taking a poison. Hold up. Because, look, I've been waiting. I think we all been waiting. Matter of fact, I think we all been waiting. But, yeah, Carson ends up, look, I don't skip the whole lot. Carson had checked on Nicole. He called to check on her and everything. She still was waiting on the test results at that point. Nicole tells Martin that her and Carson dating. He wanted to see if it's the right time to be dating. Anita started her treatment. I already said Nicole not a carrier. Andre was thinking about Danny saying she got to tell Bill and stuff, so it obviously bothers him. Jackie and Andre was talking about their wives. Nicole tells Danny that she's not a carrier. That's when Danny found out that she was. Jacob said he glad that Danny is with Andre and not Bill. It don't matter. She still want Bill. Look, Paul was thinking about him that. But yeah, it don't matter. She still want the man. She just ain't realized she's still in love with him. But yeah, she tried to call him, but he left his phone. Martin was saying to Smitty how he doesn't want to give bad news and stuff like that. Smitty convinces him to do it. He calls Vernon and tells him. Vernon decides not to tell Anita because she getting treatment. I already said Naomi tells Kat and Chelsea. Kat goes in to tell Nicole she's sorry. I said, not right now, Kat. I said, you do have a tendency to make things about yourself. She trying to get to her sister, and you over here telling my son, you sorry about not showing up the other day. She ain't got time for this. Y'all can talk about that later. But yeah, Nicole told her it was okay. They end up hugging, and she went to her sister. Carson asked Andre how him and Danny holding up, and he was just saying how he in it for the long haul and stuff. What else? Let's see. Vernon told Anita he hasn't heard anything. Danny was crying, laying in bed. Nicole came in, took her jacket off, and got in bed with her, and she was just comforting her. And I said, yeah, that part almost got me, y'all. They tried to take me there. I said, look, these past few episodes, well, this whole little storyline, I said, look, they trying to make us cry one way or another, y'all. They said, y'all gonna cry. They say y'all gonna get emotional, and I see some people still saying that they ready for this storyline to be over. I'm ready for the Haley storyline to be over. What happened to that lady? What was that lady name? Her friend that ain't her friend who more than likely she gonna have to watch. What was her name? I don't forgot already. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Haley, the one she was not doing business with, but they was cunning people together. But she seemed like she got some secret animosity towards Haley. What was her name? Dog, I threw out my other tablet, so I don't even remember. But yeah, I think that's everything. Let me know your thoughts down below. Stay tuned for the next video. Until next time, deuces. Have a great rest of the day, a great weekend, and be safe.